There is a prophecy that cannot be escaped. A mother who knew, from the moment she held her son, that he would die young. She did everything right. She dipped him in the river that makes gods immortal. She trained him under the greatest teacher in the ancient world. She hid him, disguised him, begged the fates to look away. And none of it mattered, because Achilles was not born to survive. He was born to be remembered. The greatest warrior who ever lived had one weakness, and somewhere across the battlefield, his enemy already knew what it was. Before Troy, before the war, before the ships, there was a goddess who loved a mortal man. Thetis, immortal, silver-footed, daughter of the sea, fell in love with Peleus, a king of Thessaly. The gods forced the marriage. She did not choose it. But she chose to love the child who came from it. And when the fates whispered to her what his life would be, she went to the River Styx, the river that separates the living from the dead, the river whose waters grant invulnerability to anything they touch. She held her infant son by the heel, and she submerged him. Every part of him became untouchable, every part, except the one place her hand covered, the heel she never let go of. She saved him from everything, and doomed him with the one thing she could not bring herself to release. Achilles grew into something the ancient world had never seen. Faster than any man alive, stronger than any warrior who had ever lifted a spear. His teacher was Chiron, the centaur, half man, half horse, the wisest creature in the ancient world. Chiron did not teach Achilles to fight. He taught him to hunt, to heal, to play the lyre. He taught him what it means to be both fierce and human. And Achilles absorbed all of it, the strength, the grace, the burning need to be the greatest who ever lived. But prophecy is patient. It does not chase you, it waits. Thetis knew the prophecy in full. 2 paths, 2 futures, no escape. If Achilles went to Troy, he would win glory that would echo for 10,000 years, and he would die young. If Achilles stayed home, he would live a long, quiet life, and he would be forgotten. A mother was asked to choose between her son's life and his legend. She chose neither. She dressed him as a girl. She hid him on the island of Skyros, in the court of King Lycomedes, disguised among the king's daughters. For a time, it worked. Achilles lived as a girl named Pyrrha, red-haired, quiet, invisible. And while hidden there, he fell in love. Deidamia, one of the king's daughters, saw through the disguise. Or perhaps she chose not to look too closely. They had a son together, Neoptolemus, a child Achilles would never truly know. Because Odysseus was coming. Odysseus did not come with soldiers. He came with a merchant's cart, bolts of fabric, jewelry, fine cloth, and hidden among the gifts, a sword and a shield. He spread the merchant's goods before the king's daughters. The girls reached for the silk, the gold, the beautiful things. One of them reached for the weapons, and that was enough. Achilles stood revealed, still in his dress, still holding the shield, staring at Odysseus, who was already smiling. There was no argument, no resistance. Achilles had been waiting for this moment. Deep underneath the disguise, underneath the hiding, underneath his mother's fear, he had always known where he was going. He said goodbye to Deidamia. He never saw her again. The war had already been raging for 9 years by the time Achilles truly changed it. 9 years of stalemate, 9 years of blood and fire, and nothing decided. And then Agamemnon made a mistake. He took Briseis, a woman Achilles had claimed as his own after battle, a woman he had chosen to protect. Not a queen, not a goddess, but she was his. Achilles did not storm the tent. He did not raise his sword. He walked to the shore and he sat down. and he refused to fight. The greatest warrior in the Greek army, gone, withdrawn, silent, immovable. The Greeks began to lose, battle after battle, ground surrendered, men dying. And Achilles watched from the shore. His best friend Patroclus came to him. He begged, he reasoned, he wept. Achilles would not move. So Patroclus made a decision that would end his life. He put on Achilles' armor, every piece, the greaves, the breastplate, the helmet with its horsehair crest. From a distance, he looked exactly like Achilles. The Greeks surged forward. The Trojans fell back in terror because they thought death itself had returned to the battlefield. Patroclus fought brilliantly. He pushed the Trojans back to their own walls. He saved the Greek ships from burning. And then he went too far. Apollo struck him first. The god drove the spear from his hands, split his helmet, left him stunned and stumbling. And Hector, Prince of Troy, greatest of the Trojan warriors, finished it. Patroclus fell. Before he died, he spoke. He told Hector, "You did not kill me. Apollo killed me, and Achilles will kill you." The prophecy was moving again. The scream that came from Achilles when he heard the news was not human. His mother Thetis heard it from the bottom of the sea. She rose from the waves and came to him. He was lying in the dirt, tearing at his hair, covered in ash. He would not be moved, he would not eat, he would not sleep. He said one thing: Hector must die. Thetis went to Hephaestus, god of the forge. She asked him to make new armor for her son. He worked through the night. He made a shield that contained the entire world, oceans, cities, harvests, constellations. He made a breastplate that blazed like fire. When Achilles put it on, the war was already over. He just hadn't finished it yet. He found Hector outside the walls of Troy. The Trojans had retreated inside the gates. Hector alone remained. They circled the city 3 times. 3 times Hector ran. 3 times Achilles followed. On the 4th pass, Hector stopped. He turned to face his death. They fought, and Achilles drove his spear through the throat of the man who killed Patroclus. What he did next was not the act of a hero. He tied Hector's body to his chariot, and he dragged it around the walls of Troy, every day, for 12 days, until an old man came to him in the dark. Priam, king of Troy, father of Hector. He came alone, no guard, no army. He knelt before the man who killed his son, and he asked for his child's body back. Achilles looked at the old king, and for the first time, he wept. He saw his own father. He saw his own death approaching. He returned the body. He knew in that moment that he did not have long left. Paris did not fight like a warrior. He fought like someone who understood that a single arrow, aimed correctly, could end a legend. Apollo guided the arrow. It was not an accident. It was not luck. The god knew where to aim. The arrow struck Achilles in the heel, the one place his mother's hand had covered, the one place the River Styx had never touched. He did not die instantly. He pulled the arrow out. He looked at it, and the greatest warrior who ever lived understood. He had been carrying this wound his entire life. He just hadn't felt it yet. Thetis had held on too tightly, and the place she couldn't bear to release was the place that killed him. They say his spirit went to the Elysian fields, the paradise where the greatest heroes rest. They say he was happy there. But the living remember him not for how he died. They remember him for how completely, how absolutely he chose to live. His name has lasted 3,000 years. The prophecy was right. He was not born to survive. He was born to be remembered. And he will be.